If you think Trump will not be president after 2028, you are completely delusional. As of today, a viral clip of Steve Bannon is circulating online. In it, he discusses the possibility of Donald Trump serving a third term as president. For those who haven't seen it yet, here's the clip.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. And the way we finish it through Trump, Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you could tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term.
According to that interview, Bannon's claim that Trump will serve a third term is not rhetorical exaggeration. It's an indication of intent. Of course, most commentators quickly point out that under Article 22 of the U.S. Constitution, a president cannot legally serve more than 2 terms. However, both Bannon and Trump appear to envision ways to remain in power beyond constitutional limits. Many in the MAGA movement believe they can find or create methods to bypass legal restrictions. Political pundits often insist there is no constitutional or legal path for a third term. That is wrong. There is at least one legal argument that could allow Trump to serve again. The devil is in the details. It lies within the Presidential Succession Act of 1947. This law defines who assumes the presidency if the sitting president dies, resigns, or is removed from office. If both the president and vice president are unable or unwilling to serve, the Speaker of the House is next in line, but they could refuse. In that case, if both offices become vacant, Congress gets to decide who takes over. Yes, Congress could even select someone who has already served 2 terms. It would not be an election, but it would be legal. Of course, if Congress were dominated by pro-Trump members, that new president could be Trump himself. The caveat would mean Trump and his vice president, J.D. Vance, would have to resign or be removed before being reinstated by Congress. It's a long shot, but technically possible and legal. There may be several other legal loopholes, but this one seems the most plausible. Commentators argue that pursuing a third term would be an attempt to subvert the Constitution, bypass democratic norms, and maintain power beyond lawful limits. Such a move would test political, legal, and institutional boundaries if Trump and his allies tried to extend his presidency beyond the 2-term limit set by the 22nd Amendment. In the interview, Bannon never says Trump will be elected to a third term. He never talks about an election. He states, there are many different alternatives for Trump to be president in 2028. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 2028. This aligns with Bannon's previous comments over the years. Such a plan would definitively not rely on constitutional procedures or amendments, but on force, manipulation, or political pressure. The strategy would frame unconstitutional actions as legitimate through populist rhetoric or claims of national necessity. The concept of Trump replacing himself may sound outlandish, but it could be legally possible. There are a lot of illegal ways for Trump to remain in power beyond 2028. This assumes one accepts the idea that Trump already exhibits authoritarian tendencies. Several actions support that view, such as attacking Iran or Venezuela, imposing tariffs unilaterally, encouraging civilian supporters to act as vigilantes, deploying the military domestically, using force against protesters, interfering with justice processes, attempting to obtain $320 million from the Department of Justice, damaging and destroying parts of the White House. These examples demonstrate power used outside legal, ethical, or constitutional norms. Though Congress must approve most major executive actions, Trump has often disregarded such checks and balances. In the first 10 months of his dictatorship, Congress has neither reviewed nor approved any of these decisions. He does what he wants, no matter of the legality of his actions. The events of January 6, 2021 also illustrate how force could be used to retain or reclaim power. That day serves as a precedent for possible future attempts to override election results or maintain control despite legal limits. Trump's alleged plan to stay in power is less about legal interpretation and more about control. He and his circle reportedly believe they can impose their will by commanding loyalty within key institutions, Congress, the courts, state governments, or by exerting political and social pressure. The U.S. Constitution, though designed to restrain executive power, is only as strong as the officials who enforce it. If political leaders, particularly within the Republican Party, refuse to uphold constitutional boundaries, the system itself could fail to prevent an unlawful extension of power. Politicians and journalists are completely mistaken. Relying on the Constitution as an automatic safeguard is a mistake. It functions only when backed by institutional integrity and political will. If those collapse, even fundamental protections like presidential term limits could be ignored or overridden. Thus, Trump and Bannon's plan could keep him in the White House by illegal means. Again, the devil is in the details. Trump could declare a national emergency, citing drug crises, mass immigration, war, or natural disasters. If civil conflict erupted, elections might be postponed for national security reasons. Even without an actual civil war, Trump could deploy the military in major cities, manufacturing chaos and instability. Another scenario could involve major terrorist attacks or war with a foreign nation, real or invented. He has openly discussed, including invasions of Canada, Greenland, Mexico, Venezuela, or Palestine. In all those cases, the USA would be at war. In such a situation, the president might invoke emergency powers to maintain peace and stability. Imagine, too, a massive technological breakthrough, such as advanced artificial intelligence or life extension technology. Trump could argue that he must remain in office to guide the nation through the upheaval. In all those cases, Congress might even pass a special law allowing the president to stay on temporarily. It has never happened, but it's theoretically possible. So, do you really believe Trump will be out of power after 2028? Think again.